this is Heliophanes stamphyi, the bog sunjumper. It's only known from 7 sites in the UK. And
wow.
6 of them are around here.
7 sites?
Yeah.
It's a very small animal.
So Dan, tell me a little bit about the reconstructions of the wetland then, just behind us, because that was quite a big project for you, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was about 4 or 5 years ago now. We had a big expanse of sort of botanically rich meadow out there, but there was no water coming in there, so we couldn't bring the birds close to where the visitor centre was. So we dug some tunnels and we extended the pool out there, and that's been really successful in bringing waders and wildfowl in closer to people.
What are the kind of the key species that are really around the visitor centre that people are getting really engaged with, that they wouldn't have seen before?
Well, this reserve really comes into its own over the winter, I think. We're a really good place to see wintering wildfowl. So we get over 100 whooper swans some years. They're big, visible, beautiful birds, so they're great to see. Lots of winter wildfowl, goldeneye, we get smew sometimes, and they're really eye-catching species that people love to see and talk about.
The specialities I've read are a group of hymenopterans, so we're talking about bees and wasps, which are sand-loving species, basically.
That's true. Over the past 10 years, we've amassed a list of bees and wasps, particularly from the Ardea Peninsula, which is the dune system that kind of abuts this one. Over 100 species of bees and wasps, which is the largest list in Scotland. So it's a great site for bees and wasps. Massively threatened by all kinds of developments, and this is one of the reasons we record bees and wasps and other creatures so intensively is to try and protect against development of the site. The more evidence we have, it's an important site. Hopefully the more chance that we have, it's not going to be developed.
They're a difficult place to look after, sand dunes.
Oh, definitely. I think one of the reasons the dunes are eroding so much here is constant trampling. So at the moment we've got a couple of grants in for building some new dunes. We've got 5,000 in total to build some new dunes in the reserve. So that the fencing project is designed not just to trap sand to build dunes, but to kind of keep people off the most sensitive areas.
Tell me a bit about the reserve that you've got here. It's lowland raised bog.
Yes.
So
it's actually quite a special raised bog because it's on the floodplain of the River Doon, and it's surrounded by an amazing complex of wetlands. So it's actually quite diverse, and there's a lot of interesting kind of scrubby habitat around it as well.
So it's not just about sphagnum moss in this case, it's about that surrounding habitat too.
Yeah,
okay.
And it is quite often inundated with floodwater as well, so perhaps that increases the diversity.
From the
as well.
river?
It's quite a wet site. I mean, it has been drained in the past, but it still has quite a high water table. And there's actually about 5 metres of peat underneath it as well.
Right.
So it's quite a deep peat deposit.
Which speaks of a long history.
Yes.
And you mentioned the biodiversity. What are the highlights?
Well, I like plants because they can't run away from me. So I like kind of winding my way through the bog and having a look at the kind of the world, beneath your feet, which is kind of full of these tiny, colourful plants that people wouldn't necessarily think of when they look across the habitat, but things like the bog rosemary, the cranberries, the sphagnum mosses, it's a wonderful kind of carpet mosaic habitat of plants, really wonderful.